Thanks a million. We are so excited. We finally reached the 1 million subscriber mark on YouTube, 1 million followers, and I want to thank all of you for making it happen. It's a big deal for us, for our little show, which is now not so little. Again, thanks to you. We started this thing in September of 2020, right? I was sitting on my couch, post NBC, thinking, my industry is absolutely disgusting. It's a dirty, toxic, gross industry, and I don't know if I want to go back into it. But then we had the COVID craziness. Then we had the summer post George Floyd, and I was like, I cannot sit on the couch. As comfy as it is, this is not where I belong. I need to get back out there. I'm not happy unless I'm fighting for what I know is right, like truth. It's not a post-truth world. There's still truth. There's no such thing as my truth or her truth. There's only the truth. And as somebody who practiced law for 10 years, I know that. You can understand what both sides are. You can understand facts, and you can argue your case, but it's up to your viewers to make up their own opinions. So I got back on the air, off the couch and on the air. And for the first year, we just did audio podcast only. It was kind of an experiment for me at the time. I just, having come from TV, I thought, do you think they'll listen to me? And, if they can't see me, because will they just listen to me? If they don't see like the foxified hair and makeup and all, I just kind of want to see. And the show took off, did really well, became one of the top podcasts. And I said, all right, great. I kind of proved something to myself here. And now I want to get back to the medium that I know and that I love because, I do communicate visually too. And I miss that. I think if you just listen to the show, you kind of miss some of the communication that I'm offering. So we launched YouTube right at the same time that we partnered up with SiriusXM. And SiriusXM has been great. They're an awesome partner. They allow me to do it live between 12 and 2, and then we release it as a podcast and a YouTube show. And that's worked out great for me because I like being live. And that's also sort of an element. You're out there without a net. And there's only so much we could change even if we wanted to because it's already aired live. So you're stuck with what you've done. And I like that. We did that a year into the show's run. Things took off, right? YouTube started going really well. The podcast got even more exposure. SiriusXM audience grew and grew and grew. All sorts of feedback there that was very encouraging. And here we are now. In September, it will be 3 years since we launched the show. And right now it's a year and a half or so since we launched on YouTube. It's so exciting to hit 1 million. Can I tell you for a number of reasons? It means the show is resonating, and it means I don't need corporate media in order to get my reporting out there, get my voice out there, and get your voice out there to talk about the stories that we talk about from, push back on the COVID mania, to push back on the BLM nonsense, to push back on the gender madness that we're all being subjected to right now, to just highlighting people who nobody else will talk about, people like RFK Jr., who couldn't get purchase from anyone. No one would put him on. He came on the show and complained. Even people I like Joe Rogan, wouldn't give him a platform because there certain people deemed too toxic to touch. Well, we found a way to do it, and that 4-hour interview lived on all platforms, did not get censored anywhere, including on YouTube. And we're very proud of that, right? That's what got us to 1 million. That's what got people interested in the show. I'll talk to anyone. We'll debate. It could be fiery. Go back and look at my Mark Cuban interview, look at my Scott Gottlieb interview, look at my Marianne Williamson interview. I'm still me. We're going to have some dust-ups here and there. We talk to lefties and righties. We have people from the New York Times come on this show. What other digital media show that leans right in its editorial did New York Times reporters come on? Why do they do that? Because they know I'm going to give them a fair shake, though I will challenge them. But I'm not closed-minded to their point of view. And I think it's good for the audience to hear their point of view. Challenged, but to hear their point of view. So you'll find that here, but you'll also, of course, hear all your favorite voices from the right and from the center. We pride ourselves on that. That's why the show has been resonating, and that's why people are starting to flock to us in even greater numbers now. I think in the wake of Tucker's termination, our numbers went way up. We had a huge spike, and that was great. That was great for us. But it's in part because people are trying to show mainstream media that they can write off. I'm trying not to swear in my special video. I don't know. My mom asked me not to. They're sick of it. They're sick of it. Where do you go? When one of the only honest voices in news, somebody who, whether he's right or wrong, whether you agree with him or you don't all the time, has to be silenced because he's too controversial? Is that what's happening? That's what a lot of us suspect. He just colored out the lines one too many times. He didn't march with the beat of the elite one too many times. So he had to be fired even though he was the number one show? What does that say about where we're getting our media from? That's why this show exists. You heard the opening tagline when we launched, right? We're having conversations that are open, honest, and provocative. And we're not being intentionally provocative. We just know that what we're touching is third rail stuff. And then in a lot of forums, you'd be shut down. You wouldn't be allowed to have these convos, but we're having them. And we're doing it responsibly. You can trust me not to mislead you. I am not a purveyor of any disinformation, and no honest person would ever suggest otherwise. I stick to facts because I want you to be informed, and then I want you to hear smart opinions about those facts. And I think you get it. You know it. We'll never bore you, and we'll never mislead you. And the show's got a track record to prove it. Now, look, you may think, if you've been listening to just clips of me here or there, that, I've gone, to the right. I would suggest to you the crazy ass world has moved to the left, and I'm pretty much where I was. I am an open-minded person who practiced law for a bunch of years and can see both sides of most stories. But I know lunacy, as Tucker said the other day, evil, when I see it. You're going to start castrating minors, cutting off the breasts of 16-year-old girls. I'm sorry, but you're evil. I will fight you. You're going to start telling kids of a certain skin color that they're dumber than the others. They're just not quite as capable. Or kids of a certain other persuasion that they're born into an original sin that is inescapable and they need to feel bad. No, I will fight you. It's evil. It's wrong. And we've been doing that since the start. Now more than ever, we need voices that are respected, maybe not beloved, but respected by the left and the right to say these truths. You have to find a way, even if it's you in your private life, in your professional life. Don't be afraid to like the tweet. Don't be afraid to follow the account. I recognize we do have some people doing that. I told the story a couple weeks ago. Went to this big muckety muck media conference. Met this very famous guy who you would know. Happens to be a black gay man who is a big Hollywood person. And he pulled me aside and said, Megyn, I'm your number one fan. He said, I love what you are doing right now. He said, I just love how fierce you are in your commentary and how unafraid. He said, it's not that I agree with everything you say, but I love the way you say it. And I love that you're not afraid to say it. And he said, I wind up forwarding all your videos to all my friends and they love your stuff. And I said, well, why are you doing all the forwarding? Why aren't they just see it? Why don't do they just not see it themselves? And he said, they're afraid. They're afraid to follow you. They're afraid of backlash in their own personal lives. So I did think it was kind of funny. I'll take you however I can get you. If we need to do the forward system, let's do that. Because we need to get these voices that I have on the program out to as many people as possible. But that is sort of the world in which we live. And the more people who own it, do the follow, do the subscribe, repost the piece, and then start repeating the messaging. Try it. The more liberated we'll become. The more the sane will defeat the insane. The good will defeat the evil. So that's our army that we're building. And it isn't left or right. It really is a right or wrong situation, and we're in the right. We are in the right. So anyway, if we built it, would they come? They would. You're here. Thank you for getting me to 1 million. All of us on our team are all very grateful. Our team has grown, and they're all on board with our mission. And finally, I've done something that my kids will think is cool. They really just wanted that 1 million button. You know, the 1 million button you get? I haven't gotten my 1 million button. But you get a button. Plaque. Steve Crackar's in my ear right now saying, we get a plaque. I don't want the plaque, I want a button. What? It's a button plaque? What? If you could hear the nonsense. Whatever it is, I'm going to come back in another video and I'll show it to you. And I will report back on how my children felt. But the important thing is how you feel. I'm so glad that the show is resonating. I feel it too. I feel your positive energy. I feel inspired by you. I read the YouTube comments every day. I go on there and I read the comments on the clips in the full show. And I hear you, even when they're negative. I take them in. I take the criticisms to heart, not the ones that are just by the trolls, but I can tell whether you're a fan or not. And I feel like we're building something together. That's why it's meaningful. That's why it's meaningful. I didn't pay a bunch of money to get fake subscribers. Each one of you is real because we built you the following brick by brick, person by person, subscriber by subscriber, follower by follower. That's why it's real. And that's why the numbers reflect that. So thank you for helping me stick it to those purveyors of disinformation in the mainstream that don't want to have these conversations and want to shame you for thinking things that the majority of Americans think and want to lead you to believe that you're in the minority and that there's something wrong with you for having legitimately held opinions on science, on gender, on masking, on vaccine. We could go down the list. We've done it together, gotten here. So all my gratitude, and here's to pushing to 2 million. Thanks for being part of it.